The basic struggle we have today is we want to be doing more meaningful things that we've been thinking about, like exercising, studying, working on our resume, you name it. And we want to stop doing things such as doom phone scrolling, binge watching a show series, eating food we know that it's not best for us. But what if I told you there's a part of your brain involved in these things actually being controlled by another part of your brain? But now, with a couple simple exercises and even some music, you can start regaining more self-control over that part of your brain. I want to share something I wish I knew years ago that radically shifted the way I approach my goals and how my productivity and belief changed forever around self-control, motivation, and willpower. For years, I was repeating the same vicious cycle, struggling with being depleted with energy, not following through on things that I really wanted to do, things that I didn't want to do, like binge eating, not having control over my food choices, and other multiple things. I thought I just lacked willpower or motivation, but I learned it's not about willpower or motivation, and I want to show you how you can take more control even when your brain and body is working against you. When I started exploring and researching how I could develop more self-control, I came across this fascinating experiment called the cookie marshmallow test. The study was to measure children's ability to delay gratification, and here's where it got kind of interesting. It was discovered by the researchers that not all kids could wait, and it was not about them waiting, but how they managed to wait, to resist the temptation and the difference. Some kids got distracted by looking away or playing with other toys, while others just sat there staring at it until they actually gave in and they ate it. So why is this silly cookie marshmallow test so important? It gave us a serious glimpse into having a strong indicator of a person's future. The children who figured out how to distract themselves, who used deliberate strategies to resist, were the ones who went on to develop habits to perform better later in life, with focusing, planning, and were better at maintaining personal relationships. Now, I know what you might be thinking, like I did when I first saw this story, the study. Yeah, it's great, they're children, their brains aren't fully developed yet, but what about me as an adult? Can this change? Well, let me tell you, yes, it can. There's been multiple studies, including a study published in the Perspective on Psychological Science that discusses the malleability of self-control, suggesting it can be strengthened through practice and training. The authors highlight self-control is comparable to a muscle being built up. Another study named Practicing Self-Control Leads to an Improved Self-Control Performance was conducted, and the researchers found engaging in small acts of inhibition, such as regulating posture or slowly shifting eating habits, led to a general increase in self-control capacity. Participants who practiced these minor self-control tasks over a 2-week period performed better on later tasks requiring self-control, suggesting that practice deliberately can enhance self-regulatory abilities. These show that self-control isn't just something innate that you're born with. It's a skill, and it's a learnable skill, which means adults can develop and enhance their self-control anytime in life, not just as a child. So you're not lazy, and it's not really just about motivation and willpower. What's happening is much more complex. In fact, there's a part of your brain pulling these strings, and we're not even fully aware of it. You can learn to train your brain to make different choices, and today I'm going to walk you through how to do that. So let's dive into the science that's not just only helped me, but many others, and can help you build more lasting self-control. It all starts with understanding something crucial. Our brains are wired to seek pleasure, but it also has the capacity to deliberately control impulses. So what does this mean? How does a part of your brain called the prefrontal cortex relate to delaying gratification? Let me break it down. Our self-control relies on 2 systems in the brain. One system is called the hot system. It's tied to our limbic system. It's reactive and instinctive, and essentially the part of us wanting what we see right now. For example, when a child sees a sweet cookie sitting in front of them, the hot system drives them to impulsively grab it and eat it immediately. It's fast, emotional, and it doesn't do much thinking ahead of time. And the more you engage in it, the harder it is for the cool system to kick in and take charge. The cool system, however, which is located in the prefrontal cortex, is the part of the brain responsible for logical thinking, decision-making, and how we regulate ourselves. The system works to pause instant reaction, weigh the options, and make choices with longer-term rewards in mind. The cool system is the part of the brain helping us to wait for that second cookie instead of giving in to the urge of eating that first one right away. And what's fascinating is these systems don't function equally for everyone. For instance, people with concussions like myself, or ADD, people exhausted during the day, those who have difficulty focusing, or who have physical pain, or become distracted easily because of their feelings influencing them, they often have less activation in their prefrontal cortex. This makes self-regulation and impulse control more challenging because the cool system isn't stepping in as strongly as it might for others. While the hot system is already active from birth, the cool system takes time to develop, which is why children often struggle with delaying gratification. So the good news is, though, as we grow, the system matures, and with the right strategies, we can still strengthen it further, regardless of where and when we start. But there's one critical molecule of the body acting as a hormone and a neurotransmitter that's one of the main key players in the dance between motivation and self-control. It's dopamine. You may have heard it before. In this case, it's a molecule in our brain signaling pleasure and motivates behavior. When we do something enjoyable, like eating chocolate, eating carbs, social media scrolling, our brain releases this dopamine. And this creates a cycle of pleasure and reinforcement. There's a catch, though, because it can get out of control. If you start your day in indulging in highly dopaminergic activities, like immediately picking up your phone and responding to texts, scrolling on social media, eating healthy foods, playing video games for some of you, or even organizing and cleaning your house and laundry, yes, you heard me correctly, you're essentially draining your brain's dopamine reserves. You may feel momentarily satisfied, but by the end of the day, you feel drained and no energy left to do more important or harder tasks, or even more meaningful things that you've been wanting to do. Sure, these things seem okay in the moment, but are these things we mostly want to spend our day on? Often the answer is no. Instead, we could use that time and energy towards taking small intentional steps towards building skills and gaining knowledge, supporting you in achieving those goals in life you've been wanting for weeks, months, or even years. I love this quote. Small steps in the right direction can turn out to be the biggest steps of your life. This quote reminded me even the smallest actions and tools done and used consistently can lead to incredible changes. One of the most powerful action ways I've used is by developing more mindful awareness. It has allowed me to stop, slow down, and take into account how I'm being in the moment and identify my brain's hot system triggers. I also discovered this amazing life-changing tool called Brain FM. When I first started using it, it was like having a sidekick for my brain, helping to take on some of the mental load while focusing on stuff that mattered. It can help strengthen that cool system in your brain, and it's made a huge difference for me for mental clarity, focusing, especially on days when I feel so distracted and overwhelmed. It's not just music, it's designed with neuroscience to help gently nurture your mind where you want it to be, regardless if you're trying to make shifts, concentrate, unwind, or push through a tough workout. There's a link below in the description if you want to check it out. This is a helpful tool, and in addition, I began starting my day with more steps of focused, productive actions like exercising, learning, and creating that build dopamine reserves. This fuels your brain to continue to make empowered choices throughout the day and throughout the week. Other small steps you can do immediately to retrain your behaviors are these two methods. It's helped me and so many others already. The first one is called the "if I want this, then I also do this" method. The second one is called the delayed gratification method. And the third, I created a cool combo called the combo method. The "if I want this, then also do this" method, for example, is if I want to binge watch Netflix, I'll make sure I'm on the treadmill while doing it. The delayed gratification method, it would be pushing something back just for a few minutes of something you want to do right away, like eating something you want so badly. I apply the delayed gratification method to organizing, cleaning my house. So often I always wanted so badly to put things back in their proper place. No, I did not have a burning passion to do this. I've always done it, and it turned into a habit. I thought it was the responsible thing to do. But when I took a closer look and I realized how much of a satisfaction it gave me, it was actually depleting my dopamine reserves too early. And I would find myself organizing, moving something from one place to another, room upstairs, downstairs, blah, blah, blah. But when I realized these habits were depleting my dopamine levels and even serving as a distraction from doing things more meaningful and having the energy to do it, I knew I had to change something. So now, instead of immediately impulsive spending so much time on organizing, cleaning, I now allow some things to stay on the counter a little longer. I also don't always choose to fold blankets on the couch, and I also purposely leave some dishes on the sink, which initially made my skin cringe, but the coolest thing started to happen. I started to notice I actually had more concentration and energy that lasted longer throughout the day. And I was able to fill my days more with meaningful stuff with my time because of the energy that I had. For the if I want this, then I also do this method, I apply it mostly to the gym with organizing all my computer files and my to-do lists, stuff like that. You see, when I started taking inventory of my life, I discovered myself sitting down for hours organizing things. So I came up with a new approach. I invested it in an iPad and created a plan. If I feel the urge to reorganize a lot of work or do my to-do list a whole bunch of ton, then I'll go to the gym, work out while walking the treadmill, and I'll take care of it. I am channeling that energy in productivity and rewiring the brain's chemistry for getting a dopamine boost from movement instead of just sitting in one place. And remember when I mentioned the combo method I started doing? It's where I do both of those methods at the same time, saving time and still having all the same positive impact for my mind. May sound a little confusing, but let me explain. For instance, if I feel an urge to snack on something unhealthy, I'll first drink a glass of water and wait for 15 minutes. But if I want this, then I'll also do this method before deciding whether I still want that snack, the delayed gratification method. Another example is when I take my laundry out of the dryer and I want to fold it immediately, the instant gratification. But I do not, and I only lay the laundry to prevent the wrinkles, then I look at who I have to call. Many times I've already planned this ahead of time, and that's the if I do this, I'm gonna do this method, and then fold the laundry away, delayed gratification method. It seems like multitasking, but it's not. The reason why is because you're purposely choosing in your brain chemistry to delay something you want to do. Now, don't go tell your loved ones or friends. Joseph said, science said it's bad for me to organize, clean, or do laundry, so I don't have to do it. No, don't do that. You might lose some pretty good relationships. But when we start to practice just one or both of these methods, we actually increase our prefrontal cortex, which strengthens our ability to increase self-control and impulses. This practice is like a muscle, and the more we use it, the stronger it gets. These are just a few ideas I do, but I'm sure you can come up with your own as well. So when that impulse strikes, you're already prepared how to respond. The more I worked on self-awareness and mindfulness, the more I've been able to recognize and plan ahead what my responses will be, making small yet powerful changes. I encourage you to identify one area in your life that you've been maybe struggling with self-control. Try practicing one of the methods or both of them. It's pretty cool what begins to occur. This is about building the life that you want and not relying on fleeting bursts of motivation, but strengthening the systems in your brain, making it your ally, helping you stay focused and have more energy to be able to make better choices and build lifelong success. And remember, it's not about perfection, it's about small, unique actions leading to bigger changes. Self-control shouldn't have to feel like a chore, and you now have some of the knowledge and simple daily practices to start rewiring and building the self-control areas of your brain. Instead of only leaving it up to mere willpower or discipline, having more self-control to not only stop doing what you don't want to do, but also have more energy, focus, and drive to do more of what you want to be doing. And don't forget to be kind to yourself, because what we think is failure is just part of the journey. These simple shifts can literally rewire your brain and your automatic habits. And they have helped so many others already that you will feel more empowered and more energy and focus, so you can dedicate more time on the goals and aspirations that truly matter to you.